Hello everybody and welcome to episode 9 of the Pentagon Challenge, and today is the end of my first season in charge of Vasco da Gama Cape Town, and I'm going to do a comprehensive season review. So sit back and take a moment out of your day to listen to how my team has got on and how the rest of South Africa looks after just 1 year of competition. So the most important thing you want to know is, of course, where we ended up in the league and some of our last results of the year. You would have seen our draw with the Witbank Spurs, and after that I decided there was just no point. Oh, sorry, that's not right. Glitch again. Sorry. It was the must not lose game against Milano United. That was the live com, and I've drawn that one apiece. So my odds of getting a top 4 or top 3 were shattered from this point, and it got worse as we suffered a shock penalty shootout loss to the Morocco Swallows. We dominated them from pillar to post, but when the crucial penalty shootout came, the players tried their damnedest, but were too tired and were not confident at the penalties, and we lost by 5-3. The eventual winners of the tournament were SuperSport United. Not the first time they've won it, but they are starting to build a little reputation for themselves, so we don't have to think about the top 2 clubs all the time anymore, and we'll get to them again very soon. I'll talk about the South African Premier League and all that, but unfortunately this rather frustrating screen has popped up on me. Don't really need it, but that happens. So after that we had to get back to the league duties. It would have been really helpful to earn more money to pay off our debts, but as soon as you're knocked out with the tournament, then you get your prize money unless you reach the cup final. Against Santos FC we were very disappointing. I only got a 1-1 draw. I know our away record is poor, but I just felt we didn't make enough of our possession, which is kind of a recurring theme for this team, but we just had to deal with it as best we could. And then an even worse result against our rivals FC Cape Town. Again, it's a matter of getting our shots on target and making sure everybody is fighting fit, and that didn't happen. So just frustrating as can be, and our hopes and dreams were evaporating even quicker. But then the players finally, after a ridiculously bad performance, we FM'd the Mathatha Bucks, and things started to turn around from here. They started to listen to me, and I made a few adjustments from the 4-2-3-1 to the 4-4-2, and started to work out. So Matlasi Make, back from his injury, scored a totally undeserved goal to win us this game, and our away record started to improve tenfold from that point. But our home record, it was a chance to take a top 3 place, and we blew it in a ding-dong battle against Amazulu. They scored early on, then we got an equaliser from a set piece, and then my decision to push them to their limits did not go well, and they were actually able to go up another gear, and they scored 2 goals in the second half. So that was really my top 4 dreams are gone. And then we did get 3 fantastic results to end the season. We start with the 4-2 win away to Tanda Royal Zulu, who have since been relegated. We had a really good strike partnership growing here between Marumo and Kabato. They really were able to score some fantastic goals, and the Swallows, we got our payback against them here by 3 clear goals. And then the Highlands Park, we beat them by 4-2, thanks to Kabato and Marumo, who I thought about releasing, so I didn't think they were any good. But now this is the final classification. Black Leopards dominant all season long, and they are worthy champions, leaving Milano United and Amazulu to contest the little playoff mini league. And Witbank Spurs actually lost out really badly. They should have been in that 3rd place, but they lost on the final day, which you can see here. Looking for them there. They lost to the Mathatha Bucks, who are now relegated, and that's appalling to say the least. But Tanda Zulu actually improved their fortunes very much, and they're safe for another year. But as for us, we got 47 points, just 1 point away from that 3rd. But since we're not doing too well financially, I think it's probably for the best. We're not getting promoted straight away. But if you look at home form compared to the away form, that is a reason why we didn't get the third place. We were really, really good in front of our home fans, but when it came to the away record, it just dropped off completely. And then in the media prediction, you can see how things differed. The Mathatha Bucks were expected to do badly, and they did, and Swallows were expected to come second, and they were really shoddy. So they're out of this league as far as I'm aware. They're relegated for certain now, so that's an appalling situation to be in. Then we have the Royal Eagles did badly, and in fairness to Brock FC, they did okay. It's up here. The Black Leopards weren't expected to be promoted. Never mind champions. Milano United were expected mid-table. Amazulu were predicted to win the league, and you would have got 25-1 odds there. Whitbank Spurs expected to be just above the relegation zone, actually nearly made it, and then we're one of only 2 teams to have finished exactly where we were placed. So one last thing I want to show you is a really cool new addition. It's the first, second, third and fourth periods of the league, so you can see how things have gone in the different segments. So in the first period we were pretty bad. The second we were spectacularly good. In the third we were bad again, like really, really bad. This is where things fell apart. You look at Whitbank Spurs, 16 points, Amazulu 12, and then in the fourth period we recovered again. So it seemed like the fixtures list was tough on us in the first two halves of the season, and the second halves of the season, if that makes any sense, were much better. And now let's take a look at the situation above us where we're not quite there yet. So you can see, incredibly, Ajax Cape Town, you'd be expecting them to finish in the top 5. They're in this playoff mini league. There have been 2 games played, and Ajax CT just need to win their final game to survive in the Premier Division for another year. And we'll take a look here. They have 2 games in which to save their skin, leaving Milano and Amazulu to fight out for another year. But in the actual league, Sundowns, by virtue of goal difference, are the champions. So that's pretty fantastic for them, to say the least. The Kaiser Chiefs were not good enough in attack to dethrone the Sundowns. Hang on, did they? Why are the Kaiser Chiefs the champions? This makes no sense. No, that makes no sense. They haven't finished the season yet, I suppose. Because of this playoff mini league. So another bit of confusion for me there, so I apologise. Anyway, the Orlando Pirates were some distance away in third, and the Black Aces came fourth. I've expected much better from Ajax CT. They fell into this 15th position, and if it wasn't for the playoff mini league, they would have been relegated as well. So that's quite extraordinary. And then we look at the periods for this league as well. You can see they got off to a reasonable enough start, but it was the Platinum Stars who did the best job. Then in the second period of the season, Bloemfontein Celtic were the league's best team, and this is where it went wrong for Ajax, and they sacked their manager as far as I'm aware. In the third period, Sundowns started to show their championship mettle, and then in the final period of the season, Kaiser Chiefs did their best, but it wasn't enough, and Ajax CT were very poor yet again. I'd love that job, if I'm honest. That'll be a really nice club to manage, but by 1 goal they were in the drop zone. They lost 2-1 to Bloemfontein, and that's just extraordinary in just one season. And the Kaiser Chiefs and Orlando Pirates did sack their managers at least once. So let me see. Manager movements. Yeah, there we go. Look at this. So Ajax CT sacked their manager. Orlando Pirates also sacked the manager. Golden Arrows had 2 managers brought in. I think the Kaiser Chiefs, I think they kept their fella, didn't they? Yeah, they actually did. So another error on my part, so my apologies. And so this is where we'd like to be. Whether we stay with Vasco is another question, but it should be very tense with Ajax nearly getting relegated, and then we'll be meeting the Golden Arrows, who are very, very poor this season. They were relegated, and then they got promoted, so I don't know what the future lies in them, but I'd love to take them down a notch. And then next up in the agenda will be my player ratings for the season. So let's take a look at overall, first of all, and see which players deserve the most praise and which need to be sold or to pick their form up next season. So in goal, Steve Hoffman was ever the reliable. He made 24 appearances in the league and conceded 26 goals. And in the cup, he kept both clean sheets when he played, but we were obviously knocked out on penalties. The second most used player is Spusio Moyoxiana, my better left back, and I'll be looking to improve this department of the tactics in the transfer market if I can. And he was pretty good as things go. He didn't provide any assists, goals, etc., and he was pretty clean with his tackling, so that's something to be pleased with. My ball-winning midfielder, Lionel Mutiswa from Zimbabwe, he's pretty solid enough. With 6 yellow cards, it'll be something I'll have to look at, but he is only played in this part of the pitch, the centre of midfield as opposed to DM, so I might have to sell him while he still has some value, and then maybe replace him or use a new tactic. And then Matlatsi Make, my favourite player of the season, without doubt, the signing of the campaign. I was so proud of him all season long when he was able to play, and he did a phenomenal job from that right hand side to score 10 goals in 20 league appearances. He didn't get to play properly in the cup, but that didn't matter. So the Black Leopards let go of a great player all those years ago, and he's revived his career with me, which is fantastic. And then Chaz Williams is my next most used player, my lonely defender. He did a reasonably good enough job, and he played in every cup game, getting fantastic average ratings there. And then my sixth and final best used player is Bakar Balde, who will be returning to Victoria Guimaraes. I'll see if I can get him back, but that needs to be seen to be believed, I suppose. And now we'll switch the little thing over to the league, so we can tell the difference between the strikers who were good and those who were poor. So Make, as you saw, 10 goals this season. Leonardo Marumo was actually really good, but he was hampered by all sorts of injuries, like you can see, really long-term injuries. But when he came back, when I actually gave him his chance, he really took it with both arms. So I'll be looking to keep him. He is South African, so that's no problem. Kabato, who's not being renewed by these work permit rules. I'm not allowed to keep players from foreign countries that don't play enough football. So this lad is probably going to have to be released or sent out on loan. It's not letting me renew his contract. So despite his 6 goals, he will be moving on against my will. And probably the major flop of the season, I was expecting so much more, but I was left to be disappointed. It's Alcardo Van Gran, the 29-year-old, only scored 5 league goals, but he did score a quartet in the FA Cup, so he was sort of redeemed for that one, but it wasn't good enough. I'm afraid he'll have to do much better in future. With 3 goals, we have Chris Ntambi, who was not really useful to me, so I'll be letting him go anyway. And then with Vusiuli Wana scored twice, Muthumbeni twice, Ngwazi twice, and then a few other guys got 1 goal. And then we'll switch to the overall. You can see the difference. Make even better than Van Gran overall in even fewer games actually. So that was fantastic for him. The most assists, Omatha Kabato did a great job. Very unselfish striker, but sadly I've already talked to you about his situation. And then Bakar Balde got 6 assists. Wana Mithambeni, my record signing, he wasn't great according to the fans, but he did a reasonable enough job, and maybe second season will do him reasonably good. Nicholas Ngwazi has 2 assists behind Make. This guy was a fan favourite, and I'll be looking to contact the Orlando Pirates to get him back for next season. It's going to be tricky. And then another player I'm not allowed to keep due to the work permit rejection is Mumuni Abubakar, who provided 2 assists and 1 goal from the centre of midfield and sometimes in the cam position, so well done to him. And then Mazabuko, he was an okay player, utility sort of guy really. He got 2 assists. And then Shabalala, a really good signing in the January transfer window. He was much he provided a lot of help for me throughout the season, and I'm grateful that he was released, and he has a little bit of time still on the clock, so I'm happy with that. And then 2 players I'm going to sell on, the Good and Sebastião. Only got 1 assist. Player of the match awards: Mackay 6, Van Gran 3, Chaz Williams 2, Marumo 2, and Scheller had also got 2 from centre back and right back, which is cool. Roscoe Peterson, my other favourite player of the season, he was able to play 1 or 2 games before the season came to a close. So I'm hoping against hope that he'll be available for loan again. But I'll be I'll be looking for alternative options for that position, since we were really unlucky to have so many injuries there as the season went by. And then the yellow card count, you can see it for yourselves there. My players were generally quite clean, but they gave away a lot of regular fouls. No one was sent off. That's extraordinary. So that's something that I'm sure many players will be jealous about from my audience. And then the average ratings, Marumo got 7.38, but he didn't play enough to really count. Mackay 7.17, Kabato 7.03, Wambi, who I haven't really talked about, has 7.00 average rating overall throughout the season. He didn't have too much to do for me, but he was actually good when I needed him. And then Boubacar, Peterson, Wana, Chaz Williams, The Good, Ngope and Labisi got ratings that I would be happy to see again. And the worst ranked players, from ones I actually used a lot, Masbukos 6.71, Matthew Rowell, the native right back, really bad, so I'll have to try and let him go. Nathan Gertze, the captain, not such a good player, but I decided to keep him as a backup for next season. Gino Muteski, big career for him in store, but he just didn't prove it for me this season. And then Richie Sebastião, Bakar Balde, Muyoxiana down here, and Sifeni Sturman is definitely the weakest player in my club. He's going to be released at the end of the season. He's just not good enough with the 6.59 average rating, and then so on and so forth. So just 1 or 2 more details I want to go through before the end of the episode. Firstly, I'd like to bring up the the club Africa. What's it? So the African Champions League. I'll see if I can bring it up. So Al Ahly, yeah, they're the people I want to show you. So they are the champions of Africa yet again. The new season has seemingly begun there. Yeah, it has. So Al Ahly won the tournament last season, and we'll just show you that now. To the final, and there you go. Al Ahly destroyed Al Meriki from Sudan 5-2 on aggregate in the final. They play 2 legs, of course, in this tournament in the final. So Al Ahly are the team to beat, and since I didn't download any extra leagues, they will be the team to beat, and there's nothing I can do to join them, so to speak. So I'll try and compete with them. They actually have a South African goalkeeper, which is quite interesting. They bought him from Supersport, and then we'll see how the South African teams got on. I don't think they got very far, in fairness. And yeah, Sundowns were eliminated in the groups, so it's a very tricky journey. It seems like Sudanese football is on the rise, and that's something to think about. And then of course the financial situation is absolutely preposterous, and we have to sort that out next season if I can. The transfer window opens in the 1st of July. We'll take a look at the calendar to show you. There you go. Pre-season, I'm deciding to bring it forward a little bit to try and get the players much better prepared for next season. Then the transfer window's open in July, and then the first games of the season will be sometime in August, September, but we don't know them yet. But you will find out in the next episode when I enter the transfer market for the first time in the summer, and hope for a better campaign in the National First Division. And my profile is pretty much the exact same. A few of these, like technique and mental, have gone up since I got my qualification, but this is the thing you need to look at, the reputation. I have half a silver star, whereas you look at the manager of let me think, the Kaiser Chiefs, for example, he has 3 stars and silver, and this guy was pretty good. He has 2.5 star reputation and Continental Pro license. He's left the Black Leopards at an awkward time, it has to be said. Their job advert might be available, but I doubt they'll be hiring someone like me. And then if you want to look at the IXCT manager, he has 3 stars as a reputation. That's the sort of guide I'll be looking to do for myself. Like that's the sort of aim for me. I want to get more silver stars and then get a better job if Vasco da Gama don't improve. But I do have an extra year in the job. If I'm sacked, I'm sacked. But I just want to make sure I'm not made to look bad by any of the clubs in and around me. So that'll be my objective, just to stay in this job for 1 more year, and then if things don't work out, I'll try and move on. But we'll have to wait and see. There you go, there's my general 4-4-2 that I'll be recycling again next season. Thankfully the familiarity for my 3 tactics are now much better, as opposed to completely unfamiliar territory last year. However, that'll be all for today. Episode 10 will be out soon, but until then, I'll speak to you later. Bye for now, everybody.